Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of the Gamers Podcast. Back here, and I think in the last episode, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I probably did. I think I mentioned how we're gonna have a lot of stuff coming up for the podcast in general. There's a lot of games coming out and different kind of things that kind of are cooking up in terms of the gaming world. And I got a lot of stuff I would like to talk about. And yeah, there's just gonna be a lot of new podcasts coming out. A lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about. Got a lot of stuff in my notes, so I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. And this is one of them. I just kind of wanted to talk about the Dead Rising Digital Deluxe Remaster. I think that's like the full name for it. Which I'm gonna kind of go into it because if you guys don't know, I love Dead Rising. I love at least the first three games. The fourth Dead Rising was kind of iffy, but the first three games I really enjoyed, and I played all of them. And I know I have some Dead Rising gameplay here on the channel. Different Dead Rising games, but I really enjoy the game, and it's probably one of my up there with one of my favorite games of all time. It's a great series, like the story and kind of everything that has to do with it. So it's kind of natural that I would, I'd make a podcast talking about it, and I'm pretty excited. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about, read off of an article here a little bit and talk about it a little bit. So first off, I'm gonna kind of read from the article. It's from IGN.com, which is great. Really good gaming news site, just for all kinds of games and stuff. So it's a good site. Now, after unexpectedly teasing the game last week, Capcom has shared new details on the Dead Rising Digital Deluxe Remaster. Not digital, I lied, it's just Deluxe Remaster, because it's not digital. It will be coming out physically in November. I read that earlier. But it's just Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. So, confirming among other things that it will release on September 19th, 2024. And obviously that already passed, so it's already released. Now, saying it wouldn't be an exaggeration, that's what Capcom said, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call this game a remake. Developer Ryosuke Murai, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name horribly, but said the new release will run in 4K, 60 frames per second on the Re-engine, and it will include quality of life improvements like the ability to move while aiming, as well as the improvements to the NPC behavior. And it just looks so great because I watched the trailer and like Adam the Clown, which was one of the more classic psychopaths that you can fight in that game. It looks amazing remastered. Now, we're going to be getting into some more stuff later, just really what I think about it in general. But it just looks so great, and we'll be getting into that more after I read this article. But Capcom has also fine-tuned the interface and added autosave functionality, and the story will be fully voiced in 9 languages. And in addition to the standard edition, Capcom is planning to release a digital deluxe edition. So there is a digital deluxe edition, that's just not what the game is called. And it will include additional costumes and the mall background music. A physical release is set for November 2024, like I mentioned. And though it has been a few years since the Dead Rising game was developed, the franchise's return seemed possible in early February. Capcom posted a super election survey on its website asking players if they would like a sequel or spin-off to its dormant franchises such as Dead Rising and Dino Crisis and Okami. I think that's how you say it, just another game. Dead Rising was originally released in 2006 and quickly became among the most desirable games available exclusively on the Xbox 360. The franchise ushered in a new franchise for Capcom during the late 2000s and 2010s, including 3 sequels. The most recent entry in the franchise before the announcement of Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster was Dead Rising 4, released in 2016 for Xbox One and PC. For a PS4 port titled Frank's Big Package was released a year later. Dead Rising 4 was met with mixed reception and was reported to have underperformed sales-wise, which I did mention. Dead Rising 4 wasn't the best out of the series, and a lot of fans certainly weren't. There were at least some fans that weren't necessarily impressed with it. But including me, I played it, and it certainly wasn't the best Dead Rising out of the series. And it kind of goes more into it in the article, saying the poor sales and performance for Dead Rising 4 led the cancellation of a new Dead Rising game, in addition to the closing of Capcom Vancouver, formerly Blue Castle Games, which developed Dead Rising games starting in 2010, with Dead Rising 2 prequel Case Zero, which there's gameplay here on the channel of Case Zero. Just to kind of put that out there if you're interested. Now, in our review of Dead Rising, IGN wrote, "Through Dead Rising may seem like a simple, mindless game when you first pick it up, it eventually reveals itself as a deeper experience. Tons of extras are packed into Willamette shops. There are magazine power-ups and special drink mixes to be brewed. Lots of clothing combination, countless pictures to be taken, and plenty of NPCs to be saved. And that was just one of the IGN reporters, kind of their opinion. And that's pretty much it for the article, just some extra comments here. And then I'm going to go over exactly what the game is and kind of like what's new in it. This is just from Google itself. So the deluxe remaster includes the following features and content. The base game, all pre-order bonuses, 17 additional BGM tracks, 17 new costumes, and up to 4K resolution, 3D audio support, fully voiced scenes, and autosave feature. Dead Rising returns with modern graphics, more than just a remaster. The Deluxe Remaster is a full graphical overhaul of the first game in zombie slaughtering action series, Dead Rising. And if you're thinking of picking it up, these are all pre-order bonuses and additions, and just some extra stuff in terms of ordering the game and stuff like that. But it looks great. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and say it right now. It looks like a great game. And there's been a lot of remasters in the past year or so for games that kind of would already pre-exist. Maybe like the last 2 years, I should say. Like The Last of Us we talked about in The Last of Us Part 2, Dead Rising, now it's Dead Rising, and, other games. But yeah, it's been kind of an epidemic, if you want to call it that. But it's been interesting. Now, some remakes I don't necessarily agree with. If you know, I didn't particularly agree with The Last of Us Part 2 remake because I think that game already looked fine, and how it ran on the PS4. I didn't particularly agree with that, but this remake, I feel like it's kind of a little bit overdue for a remaster. Now this is kind of where we're going to get into a little bit of my thoughts and kind of what I think of the game and the remaster itself. Like I said, it was kind of overdue for it. And watching everything, like I said, the psychopath, Adam the Clown, which is one of the more classic psychopaths you would fight in that game, kind of like I said, it just looks great. He looks great. The graphics itself are perfect. It's coming out for the Xbox Series X and S and PS5. I'm not entirely sure if it'll come out on last gen for PS4 and regular Xbox. I didn't see that. All I saw was PS5 and Xbox Series X and S for the remaster, which is, it kind of makes sense, obviously. It would be a fine game to run, the remastered with the 4K and everything. But if you first played it back in the day, the original Dead Rising, it's... it was definitely needed a graphical update. It was released all the way back in 2006, and it definitely needs it. And I think they haven't necessarily remastered it. Now, if you play it on the Xbox 360, you can play all the Dead Rising games except Dead Rising 3, which that's exclusively for the Xbox One, I think. But the gameplay, just kind of for example, the gameplay you're watching now is Dead Rising Off the Record, which features Frank West. It's just a kind of an alternate game to Dead Rising 2. It's non-canon. But this is run on the Xbox One. You could also run Dead Rising 2. They have an Xbox One version, and it's not necessarily a remaster, but it's kind of upped. It's definitely better graphics than what you would probably get if you ran these games on the Xbox 360, which is kind of what they originally came out for. But it's definitely, they run on the Xbox One. To kind of go through here, if you kind of, basically what I'm trying to say, so the first Dead Rising runs on the PS4. They have it kind of like, not remastered, but it just runs cleaner. Same thing with Dead Rising 2 and Dead Rising Off the Record, and also Case Zero. They all kind of run a little bit smoother on the Xbox One and PS4. I'm not sure if they're all on PS4 also, but they just kind of run a little bit smoother. But it's not necessarily the remaster, kind of that they're doing. It's not as good as graphics. It's not the best graphics, kind of like they're going for now. But will I be getting this game? I probably will. I guess I could technically do it right now if I wanted to. But I might wait until the physical versions comes out. I'm going to get it for the PS5. But I think it'll be interesting to watch. It's been a while since I played Dead Rising, and at least the first game, and I think it would be interesting to see it. And it looks great. Like I said, I kind of contest some remasters, kind of like The Last of Us. But this remaster, I enjoy, and I'm excited for it, and I might probably going to wait till November when it comes out, the physical version, but I think this is necessary, and I think from the trailer that I watched, I think Capcom did a great job, so kudos to them. It looks like a great game, and I think they did a good job, and there's obviously some other Dead Rising games that they might have made, or some spin-offs, but regardless of any of that, I kind of read in the article there, But regardless of any of that, I'm excited, and I was super excited to talk about it too on a podcast. I was just kind of waiting until the right time. I know it's been out for quite a few weeks now, but I was just kind of waiting for the right time. But I was super excited to watch it and watch the trailer and everything, and I was super excited to talk about it. But yeah, that'll pretty much wrap it up for today's episode of the Gamers Podcast. Like I said in the beginning, I do have a lot more stuff to talk about planned. There's a lot of other stuff that came out, and this is just one of the things on my list that I was more excited to talk about, so I wanted to get an episode out sooner. But there'll be a lot more podcast episodes coming. I got a lot of stuff planned and a lot of stuff to talk about, just in general, so it'll be pretty interesting, so stay tuned. I know sometimes the podcast areas are dry. Like, you don't put out too much podcast episodes just because there's nothing to really talk about. Um, and I'm sure we'll run into that stretch again. But for now, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, so expect more podcast episodes coming. And yeah, probably a lot of stuff releasing around the holidays too. So I'm sure there'll be more stuff to talk about. So stay tuned for all that. And yeah, with all that being said, make sure to subscribe for more content, like the video, all that stuff, Discord, Twitch, Instagram. Links in the description, and leave a comment down below what you guys think of the Dead Rising deluxe remaster. And if you like it, if you plan to buy it, or if you don't like it, whatever it is it may be, just leave a comment down below what you think of it. Let's discuss. I always enjoy kind of discussions in the comments. So leave a comment down below. Also leave a comment down below feedback-wise. Just, I always like to get feedback on the video. Yeah, leave a comment down below for that. And yeah, with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.